Alright guys, this is a video regarding the extra review I have made for the retest 5A, unit 5A. Okay, alright, so let's get to it. Number one, it's a negative square root of negative 81 plus 6. So we are asking you guys to simplify it. So first of all, we are going to take the negative out right here as I, okay? So this is going to be negative root 81I plus 6. Now, square root of 81 is simply 9. So this negative would carry down to a 9I now, plus 6. And then, of course, we have to put in the standard form, so real number comes first and the I part comes second. Okay, so the answer is 6 minus 9I. Number 2, again, there is a negative on the inside, so I'm going to make it an I. So I get negative 2, square root of 126I. Now, I'm going to take a square root of 126, which is going to be 3 root 14. So this is going to be negative 2 times, because remember, we're not adding. There's nothing there. There's no plus or minus. Times 3 root 14. And of course, I will come right in front of the radical, okay? The only reason why I put an I in here is just so we can take a square root of things. All right. So now we're going to multiply negative 2 times 3. That's going to be negative 6I root 14. All right. Number 3. Again, negative carries down. Square root of 81 is 9. Plus, now we're going to take care of what's on the inside the parentheses first. So, negative underneath the radical means I. And square root of 16, like this, to make it proper, times 3. Now we're going to take a square root of 16. Okay, so it's going to be square root of 16 is 4. So we can write it as 4I times 3 in the parentheses, and negative 9 plus, because there's a plus there. Okay, goes in the front. Now, can I multiply 4I times 3? Yes, I can. I cannot add real number to imaginary number, but I can multiply real number times imaginary number. So this is going to be 12I plus negative 9. Okay, and that's in a standard form. All right, next one, we have I to a power. So again, just a reminder, 0 quarters, that's I to a 0 power, which is 1. 0.25 quarters, so that's a 1 quarter. That's itself. 0.5 or 50, that's 2 quarters. So it's going to be square. As many quarters we do, the many quarters we put in an exponent. Then we know that's negative 1. Okay, I'll write it nicely. And then 0.75, that's 3 quarters. And we know that's negative I. Okay, so we're going to divide 76 by 4. 76 divisible by 4 is 19. Okay, 19 has nothing here, which means I have 0 quarters. Okay, so that means I can take this negative 3I to 76, and I can replace this big number with I to a 0, because that's what I know. I know to the 0, I know to the first, I know to the second, I know to the third. Now this 3 will still carry down. Okay, now I know I can identify what I to a 0 power is, which is 1. And remember, you are multiplying, okay? Because you're replacing now again I to a 0 power with 1. So that's simply going to be negative 3. All right, and then 46 divided by 4. Okay, 46 divided by 4 is 11.5. Okay, so that tells me 0.5 cents. That tells me I squared. Again, and instead of the I to the 46, I'm still going to carry down the 1/4. And now I can replace this I with the smaller, which is 2. Okay, and instead of 46. Because I can identify what I squared is. I also know that I squared is negative 1. So again, and instead of I squared, I'm going to put negative 1 and then 1/4, and this is a times. So that's simply going to be negative 1/4. All right, so number 6, a rolled up t-shirt is launched. The t-shirt cannon during halftime in a football game. It is launched upward from a height of the 5 feet and initial velocity of 56 feet per second. Here is your equation. Okay, it is negative 32t squared plus 112t plus 10 models the height of the t-shirt after 2 seconds. Write and solve the inequality to determine when the t-shirt was above 35 feet. So we need to write an inequality. So it is going to be negative 32, and we're going to use an x to put it in decimals. And instead of the t, because decimals does not read the t, plus 112x plus 10. Now, above 30 feet would mean it's greater than 35 feet. So we're going to take this function and we're going to put it in decimals. So I already got it ready. All right, now I'm going to use above 35 feet. And I'm going to read it on my graph. Okay, so what does my graph says? Right here. It says that the shading is on the inside. And these are my 2 points, okay? So now remember, there's 2 possibilities of shading, okay? It's either going to be shading point, okay? Point shading, or 2 points and shading is in between, okay? So we in a situation, the shading is going to be in between. So we're not going to have no infinities. We are going to have between the points, okay? And we know from what we saw right here that the points are 0.24 and 3.26, okay? So our inequality is going to be, oopsie, it's going to be 0.24 less than x less than 3.26. Now less than is because that is the sign that we have, okay? It's not less than or equal to. It is just less than, and again, we are in between the points inequality. All right, so simplify each expression. Remember to write your final answer in the a plus bi form. So here I got a plus. Again, plus does not change anything, guys, okay? It does not change anything. So when I'm taking the parentheses down, I am going to do 5 minus I plus 8, because that's what it is, plus 8, and plus 2i. Then I'm going to combine like terms. Okay, negative I and plus 2i is I, and 5 and 8 is 13 plus I. Okay? All right, next one. Now, negative does change signs because you're distributing it. If you distribute a positive, nothing changes, okay? So I'm going to have 14 minus 6i. Now I'm distributing the negative. So the positive 2 changes to a negative 2, and the negative 6i changes to a positive 6i. And then again, I'm going to combine like terms. 14 minus 2 is 12. Negative 6 plus negative 6i plus 6i is 0. So my answer is simply 12. All right. Next one, number 9. Again, that's 7 times I. So that's 7i. This negative is distributed, so that changes the positive 3 to a negative 3 and the positive 4 to a negative 4i plus 6i. Okay, now again, you're going to combine like terms. I got negative 3, okay, as the only number. And then I got 7i, okay, plus 6i minus 4i. And that's going to give me 9i, right? So let's see. Yeah. So 3 plus 6. So it's going to be plus 9i. Okay. And again, make sure it's in a standard form. A plus bi, meaning real number comes first, imaginary number comes second. Okay. All right. This 2 means there's 2 of them. I do not distribute. That's a no-no. Okay. There's 2 of them. All right. So that means I got to write these 2 together. 4 plus 7i times 4 plus 7i. So I'm going to use a box method to solve it. Okay. So you got 4, 7i, 4, 7i. That's 16. That's 28i. That's 28i. And that's 49i squared. Now, you do not cancel the middles. Okay. Yes, they are the same numbers, but you're simply adding them. 28 plus 28 is going to be 56i, okay? So we do not cancel the middle, guys. So I got 16 plus 56i plus 49i squared. And do not forget that I squared gets replaced with -1, which changes this sign to an opposite. So I got 16 now minus 49 plus 56i. Okay, it's a 6 here, and that's a 9. Okay, now I'm going to combine like terms. So 16 minus 49 is going to be -33, and then plus 56i. And that's your final answer. All right, next question, 11. Okay, now again, you guys are multiplying two conjugate. Now these two parentheses or these two factors are the same exactly, other than their sign switches. So we are going to multiply them. Remember that when you multiplying two conjugates, you are going to end up with a solid number, no I. You're also going to cancel the middle because they're going to equal 0. And your last box right here is going to have a negative number with an I square in it, okay? So let's prove that. 4, 5i, 4 minus 5i, okay? So we're going to have 16. We're going to have positive 20i. We're going to have negative 20i, okay? Why again? Because you have positive and negative numbers the same. And this is negative 25i squared. Now these will cancel, not because they're the same numbers, but because negative 20 plus 20, it's a 0. Okay, you're going to end up with 16 minus 25i squared. Remember that this is always going to be negative, which means when you multiply it by -1, we'll always make it a positive, okay? So the number will always be a bigger number, and then 16 plus 25, it's 41, and that's your final answer. All right, next one right here, 2i, we're going to distribute it. So 2i times 5 is 10i. 2i times 7i, it's 14i squared. Plus 3 stays the same because plus does not change anything. Okay, and then negative gets distributed to change to -3 and -i. Okay, now I saw a lot of students today in class forgetting to replace I squared by -1, which would change us to -14. Okay, 10i, and of course you have plus 3. Okay, minus 6i minus 3 minus I. Okay, this is 6. All right, and I'm going to combine like terms. So I got -14 plus 3. Okay, -14 plus 3 minus 3. So these going to equal 0. So I'm just going to have -14. And then I have 10i. And then I have -i. And I have -6i. And that's all going to add to plus 3i.